let's say that you make kind of cross that Rubicon. You're now doing $20 million in revenue. It's all e-com and you're doing that. And you've attracted a sophisticated financial buyer or a sophisticated strategic buyer, somebody else in the business, and they're going to look at that. They are going to go measure your net promoter score, and they're going to adjust their offer one way or the other based on that. If you're selling a lot of stuff, but you've got very low customer satisfaction, then that means you have to constantly go out and churn and find new customers in order to keep your revenue level high. But if you've got a repeatable business, a recurring business, then and you've got high satisfaction, there's a high chance that those customers are going to stay with you. But the point is that a buyer, especially a sophisticated buyer, is going to beat you up over that if you don't know it. So measure it, monitor it. You be the first person to respond on negative. Everybody gets a negative review every now and then, but be the first person to respond and say how you're going to handle it and take care of them. And then if you take care of it to their satisfaction, then you can get their permission to or ask them nicely to go and say, hey, could you go modify that then, or would you take that down or whatever? Because that impacts our business, and I'm so glad we were able to solve this for you, or at least go and give an addendum that says, hey, they solved this for me. But measure it, monitor it, because I promise you, the bigger you get, the buyers are going to be looking at that. I had a great example in one business that I sold a couple of years ago. We had a number of operating units, but one of our operating units had a particularly low net promoter score. It was a negative number. It was like minus 24, which means I had way more detractors than I had promoters. And it was because we bought a business that had some serious challenges. And we got into due diligence. And after due diligence, and this is a pretty sizable transaction, but after due diligence, the buyer came back to me and they wanted to make some purchase price adjustments, which is very common. I don't know how common it is in e-com business, but it's very common in all other transactions. So they wanted to make an adjustment, and they can what they're finding during due diligence, if they learn something they didn't already know, then it gives them the right to come back and negotiate that price again right before close, right? And you've already spent 6 months on this deal and you're mentally committed to it and you're in love with it. And now they want to make an adjustment. What are they doing? So I get that call. It's like 3 weeks before close. And the CEO of the buyer said, hey, we finished due diligence. So I said, okay, I'm ready. This is the retrade conversation. This is where they're going to try and reduce the price. Let's see how well I did on my own scorecard. And he said, hey, first thing we noticed was like this, the net promoter score, your customer satisfaction in this division is just horrible. It's the worst satisfaction we've ever seen. And for that reason, we need to take $2 million off the purchase price. And I said, oh, okay. Oh, $2 million. Okay. Yeah, I understand. Are you sitting at your desk? And he said, yeah. I said, would you mind going back to the presentation that I gave you in August, 6 months ago, where we talked about the business and the opportunity here? And I opened it up on my computer. He was opening it up on his. And I start flipping. And oh, there it is. I said, get to slide 76. And he said, well, why don't you just tell me what I'm going to see on 76? I said, that's where you're going to see that I disclosed to you that I had a minus 24 customer satisfaction, NPS score. And you're telling me now that it's minus 22. So what I'm telling you is that the things that we're doing is working. And I'm also telling you that you already knew that before you made an offer to me. And so I recognize that you want to make an adjustment here, but it's not going to be on that. So what else do you have? And so I was able to not get a $2 million purchase price adjustment because I'd already disclosed it. I already told them what we were doing about it, and they didn't find it in due diligence. That's a bonus. Every business has some warts. Don't try to hide those in the selling process because they're going to come out. And the sooner you can identify them, the easier it is to make sure that it doesn't become a future price negotiation. If they already knew this going in and making you the offer, then they can't make an adjustment on it later. So there you go.
That's a really good example. For a lot of e-commerce businesses, you hit the nail right on the head. Buyer's going to go out and look. What is the brand? What is the business? They're going to go Google it. They're going to see the reviews, and a lot of times, like if it's not good news, they won't even respond to me, or they'll respond back basically saying, no, I'm not interested, and here's why, and then they'll share, that the customer satisfaction was not good. It's really hard to sell those businesses if you've got a really low score customer satisfaction in whatever platform these physical products or widgets are being sold in. And then on the net promoter side, for B2B businesses, I can see how important that is. I like to highlight this as well in the listing process. I want to highlight a business's customer satisfaction, the review, if it's an Amazon store, how the reviews of the store are, how the reviews of the products are. If it's direct to their own website, what are the Google reviews about it? If there's any BBB, activity, I like to see that it's none. It's an A+, score. Those are all features, I think, in a listing process as opposed to detractors.
Yep. I love that. I love that. You got to know what it is, though, because look, in an e-commerce business, man, you live and die by the reviews. Know them, monitor them. If somebody gives you a bad review, and by the way, it's not the end of the world, right? If somebody gives you a bad review, do what you can to go out and fix it, and prevent it from getting in the way of future business.
Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to subscribe and tell me what you thought about it in the comments. Your comments encourage me to continue posting videos, and they give me ideas about what to post next. I read and reply to every single one. Also, if you own an online business and you're curious of how much it's worth, click the link below to get a free business valuation with a member of our team. Who knows? It may even be me you're talking to. Comments. Are you a buyer or a seller?